everybody. This is Football Exclusive, and today I kept my word. Earlier I said I was going to do a video later on today, and I actually did it. I mean, I'm doing it right now, as you can tell, and from the title you can see it's the game that can decide the SEC East. Florida versus Georgia, very great rivalry, close in history, things, and I had Jane on the phone. If you want to go ahead and say hi, Jaden.
Sup?
Yeah, so this is not he's not really going to be in the video, but he might talk with me a little bit. But
Yeah, kind of,
yeah,
help.
so I mean, Jaden does the NFL and I do the SEC, but I'm going to we're going to switch
Yeah,
eventually
and
up.
by the way, I'm working on one right now. If you're wondering.
Yeah, so be on the lookout for that one soon. It'll be an NFL prediction, and so right now I'm going to do Florida versus Georgia. I'm going to say their history and everything. All right, so here's their meetings. First meeting was a well, I mean, this is kind of confusing because in the first game, Florida didn't really count it because they said they weren't officially Florida yet at that time. But according to Georgia, their first meeting was October 15th, 1904. Georgia won that game 52-0. But according to Florida, the first game was November 6th, 1915. Georgia still won anyways 37-0. Their meeting total, according to Georgia, was 97, but according to Florida, it was 96 because it's a game less for Florida. Their record is 52-43-2, and just subtract one win for Georgia, according to Florida, which is 51-43-2. Largest victory, Georgia won 75-0, 1942, so it was a pretty large win for Georgia. I believe Florida's biggest win was 47-7. So Florida's never had a shutout against Georgia before, or a high shutout above 47. Then longest win streak for each team is Georgia 7, 1990 to 1960, 1996, and Florida has 7, uh, like Georgia. So that went from 1941 to 1948, and the current streak right now is Georgia at 2. So not they're not really separated that much on everything. So this is a very good rivalry, and I think it'll be a good game this year. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and compare these quarterbacks from last year. First, I'm going to go ahead and say about the teams overall. I mean, last year Georgia went 11-3, losing to Texas in the bowl game, and Florida went 10-3 and upsetting Michigan in a bowl game. Uh, so here's a quarterback comparison: Jake Fromm, 207 out of 307 passing attempts, which makes him 67.4%, and 2,761 passing yards, and averages 9 yards every time, 30 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. So not that bad. Felipe Franks, which I think is above average quarterback, not a great one. I think Jake Fromm is a very good quarterback. But Felipe Franks, 188 out of 322, 58.4%, 2,457 yards with 7.6 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. So Jake Fromm has Felipe Franks higher on every stat except for interceptions, which are tied. But you don't really want to be on the lead on that one. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and start predicting these team schedule. All right, so first I'm going to predict Florida. So we're going to start off week 1 against Miami, Florida at Orlando. This will be a pretty interesting game to watch, especially if you're a Miami fan, to see how Tate Martell does, because he's been a backup at Ohio State, so we never actually seen how he did. So I mean, he was a pretty good big recruit. But I think Florida will win that game because Florida has more experience overall. Then the bye week, UT Martin. That's an obvious win right there. Uh, at Kentucky, Kentucky pulled off the upset last year. I mean, that was just ridiculous. I think Florida will win that game this year because they're upset from what happened last year. Then Tennessee win. I mean, Tennessee, I think, will be improved this year, but I just don't think they'll be improved enough to play Florida at the Swamp. Then Towson, win. Auburn, that one's going to be really close and very good game in my opinion. I think Auburn is going to recover from last year. They're upset on what happened. I mean, Auburn got upset by Tennessee and Mississippi State back to back, I believe it was. But I think Florida will win that game anyways. Then at LSU, playing at Death Valley, which is really, really hard. I just don't think Florida will be able to win against LSU because LSU is a good team and they have very good home stadium. So that's just going to be really rough for Florida. So I think Florida will take their first loss. And then at South Carolina, that's going to be a win. I believe it was close last year, but Florida was able to win that game. But I think Florida will win that game this year. And then bye week, then here comes the big game. Florida versus Georgia. I'm going to go ahead and save this until the end of the video. Then Vanderbilt, that's going to be a win for Florida. Vanderbilt just doesn't have enough talent compared to Florida. And at Missouri, lost Drew Lock. So they got replaced. He got replaced by Kelly Bryant, but I mean, I don't think Kelly Bryant's that good of a better quarterback than Drew Lock is, except for rushing. But I think Missouri's not going to be able to beat Florida. I think it'll be close though. And then the bye week, then Florida State. Florida's ready to play again. It's 3 byes. That's what you get for going at week 0. You get 3 bye weeks. That's really helpful for your team. Florida State, I think Florida's going to be well rested and ready to play. Win right there. So right overall, without the game against Georgia, right now I got them going 10-1, and then we'll see how they do at the end of the video when I talk about the Florida versus Georgia game. So I'm going to go ahead and predict Georgia. All right, so here's Georgia's schedule at Vanderbilt. Not really an easy game. So I mean Vanderbilt doesn't have enough talent compared to Georgia anyway, so I think Georgia will win that game. I mean Vanderbilt could give Georgia a little bit of troubles. But number 2, Murray State, that's a win, obviously. Number 3, Arkansas State, that's another obvious win. 4, Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's going to fall this year. They just had a lot of experience last year. So I think Notre Dame's going to fall a lot this year. So I think that'll be a win for Georgia. Then bye week at Tennessee. That's going to be a win. I think it'll be rather really close though, because last year, I mean, Tennessee was giving Georgia trouble, and we are on the road. Tennessee's more experienced and has them at home, but I still think Georgia will be able to win. I think it will be close, but Georgia will eventually pull away. South Carolina, that's going to be a win. South Carolina just does not have enough talent compared to Georgia. Kentucky, that's a win. Bye week versus Florida. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and save that. Missouri, win. I'm not going to talk too much about these teams because I already talked about them with Florida. And at Auburn, I did say Florida would beat Auburn, but I actually think Georgia will lose to Auburn because I think Georgia will at least lose one of these games. So not including Florida right now. But I mean, I think Auburn will be the one, either Auburn or Texas A&M. But I'm picking the one they're on the road with. And I believe Florida does have Auburn at home, so Florida has the home field advantage, and Auburn has a home field advantage against Georgia. So I think that'll be the loss. And then Texas A&M. Like I said, this is one that Georgia could definitely slip to, but I think Georgia will be able to win that game. It might be flipped actually. It might be they beat Auburn but lose at A&M. I think it'll just be this way. Then at Georgia State or Georgia Tech, my bad. That's going to be a win. Georgia Tech's not going to be that great this year since they lost their quarterback, or not their quarterback, their head coach, who ran the triple option, but now the players have to adjust to a new offensive scheme. So now I have Georgia at 10-1 right now. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with my prediction on the game itself. All right, so if my predictions are correct at the time during the game, Florida would be 7-1 and Georgia would be 7-0. But at the end of the season, not including the actual game, they would both be 10-1. So that's how big this game matters. Whoever wins this game, according to my prediction, would have a better record. and SEC wise would have more SEC wins. So that's how big this game is right here. Like I said, whoever wins is going to the championship, unless there's another team that goes undefeated. And the team I have winning this game, drumroll please, everybody. I have the University of Georgia winning that game. I just don't. I think Jake Fromm is a better quarterback compared to Felipe Franks, and I think Georgia has a better team than Florida does. But I mean, Florida has a shot. If I think this is close to 50-50. I just think Georgia's going to be able to handle Florida. Um, but if Florida wins this game, they can go to the SEC championship, and Florida could show that they're a very good team. I mean, Dan Mullen is a 9-3 head coach, but I think he'll be pretty good this year. Then go to 9-3 next year. So I have Florida finishing 10-2 and Georgia finishing 11-1. Georgia's going to the SEC championship, and that's what I predicted. So this is technically a doubleheader for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see another video like this, please comment down below a very big game, and I'll try my best to do it. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you later. Peace.